An MI6 agent takes on the boogeyman in this supercharged episode of Movie Feuds. It's not really supercharged, it's just going to be me talking for 7 or 8 minutes, but enjoy. I never truly realized how much I missed Keanu Reeves killing people until I saw John Wick. What a glorious day that was. He plays an ex-hitman trying to cope with the loss of his wife. I wouldn't consider Reeves the most versatile actor, but there's a sadness in his eyes, and it's one the audience can sympathize with. So when he goes on his murderous rampage later on, you're right there with him, cheering him on. Charlize Theron takes the lead in Atomic Blonde as Agent Lorraine. Not quite as badass of a name as John Wick, she makes up for that by being fun as hell to watch as she dispatches riffraff left and right during her mission. As a bonus, she looks damn fine doing it thanks to some great 80s fashion. It would be insulting to bring up the wardrobe now and not mention Wick's inspired ensemble. His single-breasted suit jacket has slim-notch lapels that nicely roll down the front of the piece into a 2-button feature. This makes for easy access to each of his P30L pistols. There are 4 black buttons on each cuff, the same as the black plastic used in the front ones. The suit's matching flat front trousers lie low on his waist, but still high enough that the vest keeps his waistline covered. The fit through the pants leg is comfortable and straight, much like myself, ending at plain hemmed bottoms that break high over his shoes. Not long enough to trip over, but enough to conceal his Microtech Ultratech OTF knife. He complements the suit with a nice ripped silk tie and front seat access to a Dodge Charger, making for a very stylish, yet tactical look. Wick also features a nice assortment of terrific hotel staff, contract killers, chop shop workers, cleanup specialists, and more world-building extras. William Dafoe, Game of Thrones dickless wonder Elfie Allen, Ian McShane, and John Leguizamo bring nice support to the picture. Theron has a nasty habit of being a damn fine actress and chews up most of the scenes she's in on her own. This happens to be the case in Atomic Blonde as well. Although young Xavier as David Percival puts in a solid performance, and you can never go wrong with a little John Goodman, who seems pretty content just being in movies for 10 minutes now. Hot Mummy is back, showing up here and there to keep things interesting as well. There isn't an obvious villain in this picture since it's an action spy mystery, as opposed to John Wick's very simple and straightforward one. John's gonna find that villain, he's gonna kill him dead. Let's talk about it in story. Coming up now. I was a little too excited. She's a killer queen. As previously stated, John Wick has a simplistic revenge plot. John is harassed while filling up his car by a couple of well-connected thugs. He basically tells them to fuck off, which doesn't go over too well. This is confirmed in the next scene when they break into his house in the middle of the night, trash the place, and kill his cute little puppy companion. There isn't a dry eye in the audience for a few minutes, but thankfully those tears are replaced by that of joy as we watch John and follow along while he slaughters everybody in his path. It's a glorious parade of death, featuring a wealth of weapons and hand-to-hand techniques. The pacing is perfection, and unlike the sequel, this does not overstay its welcome. And the reason the paper-thin plot works so well is because of all the great world building going on. I love the gold currency system, the assassin hotel, the rules these men and women live by, and the consequences for breaking those rules. It's never forced on the audience in an expository way, instead it grows organically. These interesting nuggets sprinkled throughout are the big separator for me between the two films. As nice as it is to see Charlize les out for a few minutes, it just doesn't have the substance I need. And now that I hear myself say that out loud, I may need to reflect on the value I place on things. The spy story is very standard stuff. Our lead is sent to Berlin alone to retrieve a priceless dossier. It's here where she meets up with Percival as they work somewhat together to uncover the whereabouts of the list. On top of this mystery is that of a double agent who goes by the name Satchel. The reveal is very obvious, and I think the writers came to that conclusion as well, so they decided to pad the last 5 to 10 minutes with pointless twists. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a clusterfuck that doesn't really amount to anything interesting. Much like a Mormon orgy. I write my own material here, so it's a constant struggle. Now we get to the real heart of it. If you weren't in this for the lesbian thrusting, then the enjoyable act of watching people get shot in the face is what drew you in. There was a surprising lack of that in Atomic Blonde, which made the final act a bit out of place. Lorraine only uses her gun to dispatch like 1 or 2 bad guys, until that shoehorned ending, instead opting to use her massive 120-pound frame to take care of business. Thankfully, the stunt coordinator turned director, David Leitch, uses his experience to craft some very impressive sequences. My favorite is an extremely well done tracking shot that appears to go on for several minutes without a single cut. This of course isn't the case, but thanks to some great editing and stunt work, it all flows together seamlessly. I read that they did, however, go a full 2 minutes before the first real cut is made. It helps that Charlize did everything required of the scene without a double jumping in. While this is hands down the best portion of the film, there are plenty of other smaller segments of intense choreographed awesomeness throughout. All that's great, but none of this would have existed without John Wick. The gun fu is in a league of its own. It's like watching an artist paint on his beautiful canvas. His brush is his gun. The paint is the spurts of blood this way and that. The canvas? The gritty, mean streets of New York City. This metaphor is working. The choreography, the dedication to each punch, the camera work all comes together to make both these flicks work, but the music puts it all over the top. Composer Tyler Bates, who's never short for work, nails John Wick's world with a completely unique sound, a mix of classic rock and modern techno. You could easily argue that Atomic Blonde's score is even better. It's a win-win for Bates either way as he crafted both. What really makes Blonde's music stand out is the mix of some awesome 80s hits. Jams like Personal Jesus, Killer Queen, I Ran, Hungry Like the Wolf, and a handful more keep some of the slower sections interesting. It's quite odd for me not to have something to complain about here, but I'm at a total loss. Let's conclude. I expected great things from Atomic Blonde, and it almost got there for me. I think a bit tighter edit would have gone a long way. Obviously, we keep in all the makeout sections, okay? Let's not go crazy. Let's calm down. John Wick was a delightful surprise and a sweet reintroduction to our old friend Keanu. As always, let me know your thoughts on these two movies. Vote for your winner, and remember, this is more than just reviews. This is Movie Feuds. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to finish writing my fan fiction script, Atomic Wick. Takes place somewhere in the 90s, a sequel to Atomic Blonde, but a prequel to Wick in his prime. Are they friends? Are they working together on a mission? Or is she the target? Adam, you clever son of a bitch. I cannot wait to see what you cook up. Thanks for watching the video. Feel free to check me out on social media platforms for credibility purposes. Intern Sheila should be putting up some graphics for you to digest, I believe. Otherwise, you'll be out on the curb like your mom. Gotta move on. You can also check me out on patreon.com/AdamDoesMovies. Throw me a buck or two if you want. I run this channel alone. It's almost a full-time job, honestly. Thanks for your time. Sheila, the graphics, now.